And let's go back to Noach and the meaning of building an ark. And in that article of Rabash, I'll sort of sum it up for you. It speaks about, within the portion of Noach, it speaks about what actually why it is said that Noach was a righteous person in his generation. So some actually sort of treat it as sort of something that is, I would say, seeing Noach a limitation in that. When I say in his generation, meaning in other generation he would not be considered to be righteous. But it suggests that because it's plural, it's basically the two sides of it. It means that praising Noach as being able to produce, to give a produce of a true vessel that is in need of help, in need of help from above in order to pursue or to be able to keep relationship or to keep any kind of connection with the higher. So actually, it's admission that in his time he was able to recognize this lack. So this is why he's saying in his generation. And the other part, that in the generation, it could be that when actually there is a retreat in ourself, it feels in us, in the will to receive to itself, it feels as though we are moving back. We discover ways and thoughts and feeling in ourselves that actually sort of feel themselves to be whole, and we don't need any more help, as though we already sort of attained, one can say. So this is basically saying that it is a true state that creates a stop and a separation between us. Though we praise ourselves to be whole, we're actually creating a sort of a separation in communion, in sort of ways that we are able to move towards. So, so the whole idea of an arc, in a way, it precedes, or it's a prefiguration of the ladder. It's a movement. It's a structure that allow us to move forward. So before there is a ladder, there is an arc, which is a language. In Hebrew, it suggests word. An arc is the translation of the word arc, Teivah. It means word. It means it's a constellation of letters or a constellation of vessels, needs that can create meaning. So this is the first issue of an arc. This is why when actually the person that precedes Noach, which is Lamech, is telling a story. Okay, it is telling a story to his wife, to his wives, Ada and Tzila. Okay. Rabash is suggesting that actually what we are sort of discovering there as a station before the deluge, or before everything is about to be lost, is sorting out a discourse, the ability to create some sort of a discourse, which in the ark, we are losing it, then we are gaining it, then we are losing it again. Okay, I want to take you now on a journey of conversation. Between Adam and Eve, there is no conversation. There is a sort of only something that is being sort of offered, and then they don't have a conversation of even of blaming each other. Each one is talking to their God separately. So he's blaming her, she's blaming the serpent. The serpent, poor me, cannot blame anyone, okay, but himself. And then there is, even after the murder, the first murder, we don't hear them sort of drawing something out of it, okay? Actually, the first conversation between, let's say, the male feature and female feature is within Lamech. Actually, he's not speaking to them, he's lecturing to them, or he's sort of boosting his ego in front of them, okay? Telling them that both those vessels, if we translate it into the working person, and we wish to actually create the hierarchy of the higher as king, meaning as ruler of our life, we need those two forces, which is the shadow and the witnessing, which are actually the names. Yeah, this is how the letters create the meaning. So we need the shade, which has to do with belief, which is above our limitation, and so you can say this is faith, and we need to be witness and sought out, meaning to be able to know, and this is to do with Torah. So as well within this strange poetry that precedes Noach, we have that actually discourse and conversation in between humans and with the higher was lacking. We can say because there was a lack of that communication, what was offered for humanity to save itself is the possibility of conversing in a different way, first with each other in relation to the higher. Okay? And the failure of that is the end, is when humanity is coming out from the ark, meaning us, because we don't have any relation to, apart from we don't have relation to the people who were before the deluge. Our transmigration is coming from that, from those human structures of spirit that came out of the ark. And they basically use, as they multiply, they use the ability for this conversation, they misuse it. They misuse it, and they created actually, they did, or what happened to language, to the holy language, it broke, like creation and like the spirit. So now in order to understand that the discourse is the last shattering, then what we will meet is the first sorting out of being able to build from that, from the ruins of that discourse, this conversation. We start to hear that there is, someone can hear, a spirit can hear, go forth, which is sort of a conversation starts with Abraham. and then it starts to communicate with Sarah and with God, and we're trying to find with it to sort out the right language or the right discourse or the right ability to converse in between ourselves in relation to the higher. Okay, so this is basically one could say the story that is beneath what we are in of the two portion of Bereshit. We can read it through that, Bereshit and Noach. And this is basically two states in which we look, when we actually look for this to be able to converse, when we say that we don't have even the words actually to express what we lack. This is where Bina is extending herself to Malchut, taking her up and allowing her to utter or to express, okay, within the structure of language what is lacking in her. And this is the whole work is actually building the holy language that has in it the power to create. Yeah? The power to create ourselves in simile to the Creator.